All right, I got my Ridgit auger sewer drain in, and I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it, let you see guys how it's packed. That's the model number I got. While I do this, I'm gonna go ahead and talk. If you have several rental properties, getting one of these is going to be a definitely plus. It's actually all one piece, so it doesn't look like I have to do too much assembly at all. Go ahead and pull that out of that box. These were just kind of thrown down in there. Don't really like that too much. There's a hole that gets in there that can just fall right out. And you do get holes. See, sometimes stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. They shouldn't be just thrown in there, but that's how it is. A little bit smaller than what I was expecting. Alright, got the wheels, components, need some gloves, another one of those. And a manual. The only assembly I had to do was put the wheels on. Just that main bar, and you put the wheels on, and then there's a little clip that holds the wheels on. And these, they just slide down. You push that little pin in, get it on there, and then to get it out or off, you have to put something in this little hole, get that pin to go back in for it to slide back off. I don't know when it's going to be that I'll use this next, but I'll definitely get a video of it, and then whenever I get that auto feed, I'll get another video of using it. For this handle, you just pull this in, and then it comes down. And then it comes with a pair of gloves. But as I was getting ready to say earlier, if you have a few rentals, it's going to definitely be worth it to get one of these. I don't know how often that we have it. I think it feels like every six months to a year, we normally have to at least do one drain. And when you start calling around plumbers, some of them are getting over, I think the cheapest I've heard around here is like $130, and they can easily, if you go to one of the bigger guys like Roto-Rooter, you can get up to a couple $100. Even renting these, they used to be pretty cheap. Now the rental places, I think I was getting them for like $35 several years ago to rent. Then it was worth it to just go ahead and rent. But now in my town, they wanted $85, and they have no attachments to it. So I don't even know why they're renting it. We just had one happen just now and had a huge issue of trying to get one that had attachments, which we want bigger attachments than this, so we will be ordering other attachments because we're going down 3 to 4 inch drains mainly. But anyways, the rental places didn't have any. The next town over, they're wanting 91, I think, for theirs, and we rented one of those, and they only had a couple of attachments for it. So, and the first one we rented, we were also having motor issues, like it was overheating and not working. So it ends up being a big problem. And then you're also going to run into problems like right now, it's just started to be winter. The winter's coming here. We're in November now, and a lot of people will have heating and plumbing issues at this time of the year, it seems like. So a lot of the plumbers, if you're going to pay someone to do it, sometimes they're going to be backed up. So I mean, it might take them a week, maybe even two, at least a couple days sometimes to get over there. And if it's in an apartment, there might be a duplex, fourplex, or bigger. You might have, that the water coming up someone's drain underneath their toilet and flooding their apartment. So it's something that you can't really wait time. So if you have you can get one of these and just go over there and knock it out. Hopefully, might take you an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on how hard it is to get that clog out. But it ends up being pretty handy to have one. So that's why I got one. So I'll test this one out and see how well it works. I am going to go ahead and plug this in and make sure it works out of the box. Alright, got it on forward. Looks pretty well balanced to me. You guys in here and see this drum a little bit more, how they have it set up. Forward, backwards. I've seen a lot of people in the comments on this that they were thinking this was the auto feed. This just spins that drum. And another thing is the ones I was renting also didn't have auto feed, but the people that were renting them were saying they were auto feed, and they were saying this was it. And this is just to turn the drum. The auto feed is a thing on the front that forces the cable in and out. So most of the ones that you're renting probably aren't going to be auto fed, but they do have the little lever on the front. That's the auto feed. I also seen a lot of people were saying in the pictures that they seen the auto feed. And they're talking about this. This is not the auto feed. This just turns the drum. And that's not going to actually force the cable in. You still have to hand force it in. And sometimes it might go in by itself just the way because it's spiraling down your drain and stuff, but it's not auto fed. And yeah, you just put them on there to hook them so you don't lose them. Again, I'm going to get bigger attachments.
I'm finally getting around to making a review for this. I think we're going on 4 or 5 years that we've had this auger. One of the things I like about it is the size. It's not as heavy as the 1/2-inch cable, so you can really lug this thing around much easier. I can do it by myself. The other ones that I've rented in the past took 2 people to move that thing around to load it up. This thing I can do it by myself. It's much easier to wheel around. The actual cart, it has one that folds in. I didn't really like that because we've already lost a clip, and now it kind of just falls apart sometimes, but I need to get in there and either weld it or find a new clip. So it's not a huge issue, but we did end up losing one, and now that thing sometimes just falls down when we're using it, but that's a minor issue. I also like the 3/8 cable because it's much easier when you're putting it down the drain. 1/2-inch, you really have to manhandle that thing. It's a lot more of a workout on pushing it down in there and pulling it up. These things are not auto feed. Even the bigger ones that you rent, when I was used to be renting them, they used to always say they were auto fed because the drum spins. That's not correct. Auto fed, they go in by themselves, and you can also pull them out. Like, you don't have to manhandle them. this thing was small enough that it's not that bad. So I ended up not buying the auto feed. That's what I was intending to do, because I've used the rental ones that are much larger, and I know how much you have to manhandle that thing. This one isn't as bad, so I ended up just not getting that. But I think that thing was another 150 bucks. I'll also link that in the description for this model. So I think this thing has been working really great. Within just probably the first year, it paid for itself more than once. So we use it quite a bit. And again, my sister uses this thing when I'm not here. So the only complaint that I had is when I purchased this thing, I read in the comments on Amazon that you could buy an extension. Since then, I've worked on, I think, 3 other homes now over the last couple of years that the 75-foot cable is not long enough. And it felt like, you know, I'm only like 10, 20 feet short. So it's kind of worth it to go ahead and get that 100-foot. Mostly if you're working on more than one property, because you don't know when you're going to need it. And like I said, I couldn't find a cable. I've already messaged Ridgit. I haven't got any replies back. I also left comments on where to find it on Amazon, and I'm not finding anything. But the reason why I went with the 75-foot, because at that time, I really wasn't wanting to spend more money, and I thought I could buy an extension. But if I could do it again, go ahead and buy that 100-foot one. Because now it looks like to switch this from 75-foot to 100-foot, you're going to have to buy the whole new cable. And that cable was like $400 to $500 by itself. And I think the 400-foot cable for this machine was only like another $150, $200 more. So you'd better off just buy it with the unit and not have to worry about it. But that's the only issue that I was having, is 75-foot isn't quite enough. In my town, city lots, they're usually about 132 feet for length. So if the house is setting either in the front or back, depending on where the sewer is going, if it's going in, like for example, if the house is in the front of the house and the sewer is going out the back, it's not going to be long enough to get over that 100, you know, the 130 some feet that it could be. So 100 feet I think would do it, but the 75 feet, there's been a few problems with that. So I wanted to put that out there, just let you guys know. I made a video augering a while back, and people kept on complaining about it was unsafe how I was pushing it into the hole. I mean, clearly that's how you have to get it in there. There's no other way, guys. But there is a safety feature on this. If you get it, like if it ever gets stuck on something, or if you actually grab it and hold it, it'll actually stop spinning. So it's kind of a safety for some of you guys that are safety conscious. But you really do have to get in there and grab it, pull it, push it into the hole, even with the 1/2-inch ones, definitely with the larger ones. But this one does have a control mechanism that if it feels that it's caught, or you know, I literally show you in this video, I'll grab it and actually stop it. There's a safety feature that you won't get caught in it. It might, I don't know, hurt you. But other than that, I think this is a pretty good machine, and for the price, I think you're going to save some money if you're having to do this often. And if you have trees in your yard, you know, you might be having to use it once a year. So most of you guys are going to comment that I'm not using gloves. This machine does come with gloves. I have gloves. I just prefer not wearing the gloves. The gloves will get wet and soggy, and it's just, I don't really care for it. But most of you guys may want to still wear it. The cable sometimes will get little pieces of wire stuck to it every so often, and it could cut your hand. But me, I don't really care for the gloves, mostly when they get wet, and I just don't use them. pulling the cable out, putting it back into the drum, I like using a towel to clean that cable as I'm pulling it out. You do have to get a towel that doesn't have little fuzzy things because it does get caught in the cable, but once you find a good decent towel that doesn't catch as bad, it moves right along. Here you can see I'm pulling up quite a bit of tree roots that got caught on the cable. Hopefully most of that get tore up and then get washed down, but a lot of it actually gets stuck to the cable. You do have to clean it off when you're pulling it back out. I run this down twice. I'm just going to show the once in this video, but I normally go ahead and do it twice. Make sure I get it all cleaned up in there as best as I can.
There, are you happy? Jeez. What do you think?
I decided to grab that cable here so you can see that safety feature kick in and stop the drum from turning when I grab it and apply pressure to the cable.